Hi, Veston here, and before I do another cartoon theory, which is next week, I want to try something a little different. Another video for episode ideas. This time I'm going to be showcasing episode ideas for The Loud House, because as of 2026, there are at least 10 seasons, and it is still going strong. After seeing plenty of episodes, it's hard for a lot of fans of The Loud House to not come up with ideas of their own. Before I begin, I have to first say that I know for a fact that the writers of The Loud House don't take requests. The purpose of this video is to not send these ideas to the people making the show. Second of all, I don't think I'm a much better writer than the people writing The Loud House. This is not because I've seen a lot of episodes, but there's a lot that goes into writing and storyboarding an episode. And finally, what makes a lot of the episodes of The Loud House great isn't the execution. Basically, these are just pitches, and I'm only doing this just for fun. I hope that what I'm going to pitch sounds like good ideas, and maybe without sending these ideas out, maybe the people behind the show will do these things in their own way. So without further ado, here are my episode ideas for The Loud House. Episode idea number 1, Disco Diva. Luna and her friends have to perform at a disco party at Royal Woods Middle School, which Luna herself detests disco. We start this episode with Luna loud strumming her guitar when a knock is heard on her door, and Lori comes in bringing her the mail. Luna opens it, and it's from Principal Ramirez from Royal Woods Middle School, as she's requesting her and her band, the Moongoats, to perform at the school dance. But the catch is that the subject is disco. At first, Luna is reluctant, obviously not big into disco, knowing that disco has stopped becoming a fad many years ago. But Lisa offers to help her by researching how disco music works and what musical instruments are used in disco. They go through some of the usual musical instruments like saxophone, strings, and drums. And to Luna's surprise, Lisa's research book also includes an acoustic guitar, which Luna always uses to rock out on. Soon, she starts to get interested in this disco idea. And then we get a brief montage of Luna studying and researching disco music to make her guitar match the music. And the night before the school dance, she has turned into a disco player. Then a night disco dance occurs at the school gym, where Luna's band, the Moongoats, are taking their positions with some guest musicians. And who should appear at the door but Luna Loud, now wearing a sparkling white disco suit with shades and starts speaking disco lingo. Her friends are surprised to see her look has changed, but Luna explains it's all the rage. And as they play disco music at the party, we see a routine going on with Lincoln and his friends as they're doing their disco dances they've been rehearsing all week. And meanwhile, Lynn is trying to have a fun time with her date, but she is so distracted by Luna's change in looks that she can't focus and accidentally crashes into the punch bowl. As soon as the party's over, Luna, still using disco talk, wants more. But Sam, Lincoln, and Lynn have to convince her that she's not being herself and that she didn't need all those costumes and speech to enjoy playing disco music. She just needs to be herself. And after a few seconds, Luna realizes she's been acting silly and goes back to her normal wardrobe. But she still insists she wants to play more disco music, which the Moongoats don't mind. And Lincoln and his friends do their dance routine as Lynn tries to clean up herself in the punch bowl. And that's my pitch. I like the idea because I'm a semi-fan of disco myself, and I think it would be interesting for Luna to experiment with disco music. Also, I think the school gym being a party's main dance floor could make for some really memorable and amazing visuals, taking a familiar location and turning it into a dance club. I also think there's a lot of potential with Lincoln and his friend's cool dance, which could be used for them practicing throughout the episode. Episode idea number 2, Lifeguard Lori. Bored with only golfing, Lori decides to take a part-time job as a lifeguard at the Royal Woods Community Pool. For anyone curious, there have been plenty of cartoon episodes where a main or supporting character takes a job as a lifeguard, whether it be for their loved ones or to break their own rules while the swimmers themselves don't break them, until they realize that being a lifeguard is more than just that. There are episodes of Gravity Falls and SpongeBob based on that type of thing. Anyways, Lori Loud is lying down on the couch bored of doing nothing but golfing these past couple of weeks, and she needs a break. And Lynn suggests turning to the newspapers. While reading the paper, Lori sees a help wanted ad for a lifeguard at the Royal Woods Community Pool. Lori then gets the idea to become a lifeguard just like Bobby. So Lori goes to see the head official at the community pool, who is actually a teenage girl. She agrees to give Lori the job, provided she can follow the rules, which Lori is capable of being an older sister. There is a brief montage of Lori learning all the do's and don'ts of the swimming pool, and after a couple of practice sessions, the official thinks that Lori is ready to try out the lifeguard thing. She is given a silver whistle and a swimsuit that's similar to the one she usually wears in Lake or Swim, but it's colored red. The next day is Lori's first day on the job as a lifeguard. She puts on sunscreen, tries to relax in the sun on the lifeguard's chair, but then she sees Chandler rough-horsing with Liam, and she blows the whistle and yells at them, "No bullying in the water." Liam is surprised to see that Lincoln's older sister is trying to be a lifeguard while Chandler swims away. Throughout the day, Lori has so much power going into her head that she even whistles and puts out rules for even the most petty of all things happening in the water. Things like Lisa using water wings so she could examine the water, Zach forgetting to take off his glasses while he was in the water, Stella trying to bring a pool toy into the water, and even Lynn playing a game of chicken is considered a violation to Lori. Eventually, everyone gets tired of Lori's strictness that they leave. Lori wonders why are they leaving, and Lincoln tells her that being a lifeguard isn't always about rules, it's about safety and protection of others, which is something he knows Bobby has followed in his spare time. Lori realizes the error of her ways and decides to quit, but she gets to keep the whistle as a souvenir. But before she goes to the water to enjoy herself, she wonders to Lincoln why hasn't he caused trouble, and in some strange plot twist, the only reason that Lincoln was following orders was because during all the commotion, he lost his swim trunks and wound up naked in the water, which causes Lori to laugh heartily as she goes into the water to find a swimsuit so she can help him put it back on. And that's the pitch. I like the idea because I remember how bossy and strict Lori was back in Season 1, especially with the episode No Guts, No Glory. But I also think it's a perfect job that Lori would be trying to do if she wasn't golfing. And there's a lot of humor that could go from Lori's over-the-top rules to the swimmer's annoyance and responses. However, I do admit that the Casa Grandes already had an episode where Bobby was a lifeguard who taught Carl how to swim. And I'm not sure there's enough material in there to fill up the whole 11 minutes. This is one of those ideas where I love my premise, but the details could use a lot of work. Episode idea number 3, The Swimming Splashdown. Lincoln and his friends compete against Chandler in a swimming contest. So Lincoln is talking to Principal Ramirez about how Chandler's been bugging him as of late. And being the kind principal she is, suggests one thing. How about a swimming competition? Lincoln likes the idea and goes to talk to Chandler about it, but he claims that he could beat him within 1 second, but Lincoln insists. So Chandler reluctantly agrees and says that if Lincoln wins, he won't bother him for a month. But if Chandler wins, Lincoln will have to do his chores for a week. He and Lincoln shake hands and they decide to hold the competition Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Lincoln sees his sister Lynn hanging out with Coach Keck at the indoor pool, preparing for the contest, and Coach Keck tells him that she was asked by Lynn to host the competition because she enjoys water as the next girl. Lynn offers Lincoln a job to help out with the stuff for Saturday and says that if she was a hall monitor right now, she would keep Chandler away. The next day is a swimming contest, and it's Lincoln and his friends against Chandler and his goons. After Coach Keck explains the rules and whistles, the two teams get into the water and start swimming. Of course, Chandler, being the bully he is, already has some tricks up his sleeve as he uses various pool items to distract Lincoln's friends, like for Stella, a beach ball, Rusty, a seal, and Liam, lost swim trunks. Lincoln discovers that Chandler is cheating, so he decides to dodge every cheat tactic that Chandler throws at him. And in a surprising turn of events, Lincoln actually wins the contest fair and square, which of course gets Chandler disappointed and disqualified for cheating. Lynn offers Lincoln the winning trophy, but as Chandler walks off in defeat, he decides to give Chandler his trophy to him, because he knew Chandler almost never won anything in his life. Chandler is happy to keep it, and while he does thank Lincoln, he still reminds him that they're still somewhat enemies, but he'll go easy on him for the next month. And that's the pitch. I like the idea of combining a Chandler episode with a swimming episode because they've never really done that before. It also makes perfect sense why Lincoln and Chandler would be competing against each other because Chandler is sometimes a nuisance to Lincoln. And I think it'd be a cool twist for Lincoln, while he was proud of winning, to give Chandler the trophy so he wouldn't go empty-handed. Lincoln would just throw the dog a bone, so to speak. Plus, there should be plenty of action and plenty of areas where jokes can be inserted. And those are my ideas for episodes of The Loud House. Which one of these 3 do you think stand out the most? Which one of them do you think were great? And which ones do you think were not so great and you don't like? And how would you rewrite them? Or do you have any specific dialogue that fits into any of these stories? Please feel free to let me know in the comments. Until then, this is Veston Bruno, signing off.